Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Daniel Halseth? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Daniel Wendell Halseth was born on January 28, 1976, in Estacada, Oregon, which is about an hour southeast of Portland. His parents were named Wendell and Christine. After graduating from Hood River Valley High School in 1995, Daniel attended Western Oregon State University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in music in 2001. He would later earn a master's degree in business from Corban University. In 2000, while Daniel was still working on his bachelor's degree, he met a high school senior named Elizabeth. She was 7 years younger than Daniel. The couple married on July 2, 2001 in Salem, Oregon. They had 3 children, a daughter in 2002, a son in 2003, and a daughter named Sierra on December 16, 2004. Sierra becomes a key player in this story. In 2006, the family moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, so Daniel could accept a job there in the information technology field. After getting settled into a new home, Elizabeth developed an interest in politics. In 2010, she successfully ran for the Nevada State Senate as a Republican. As Elizabeth attended to her responsibilities as a state senator, Daniel worked from home and took care of the 3 children. His friends referred to him as Mr. Mom. Eventually, the relationship between Daniel and Elizabeth disintegrated. Daniel accused Elizabeth of having an affair with a businessman from Alaska named Tiger Helgelian. Daniel wanted to save his marriage and went to counseling with Elizabeth, but the threat to their relationship was more than a paper tiger. On October 21, 2011, the police responded to the home that Daniel and Elizabeth shared. They had been contacted by Elizabeth's mother, who said that she received a troubling call from her daughter. The police were trying to break into the home when the couple came back from a counseling session at a church. Elizabeth told the police that 5 days earlier, on March 16, she and Daniel had been involved in an argument. She claimed that Daniel touched her inappropriately. Daniel explained to the police that during an argument about the alleged affair, he had pulled down Elizabeth's pants, but not her underwear. Essentially, Daniel was asking her to compare the size of his genitals with her alleged lover, Tiger. Like Daniel was berating her, concerned that his genitals were of insufficient size to compete for her affection. He wanted to know what he was up against. Daniel told the police that he was just trying to scare his wife to get her attention. Apparently, the police did not believe Daniel. He was arrested and charged with coercion, battery with intent to commit a crime, and open and gross lewdness. That last charge is essentially offensive touching. He ultimately pleaded guilty to misdemeanor counts of coercion and battery. He received 6 months of probation. Daniel filed for divorce in November of 2011. Some sources say that Elizabeth filed for divorce, but either way, someone did. Elizabeth was awarded full custody of all 3 children. A visitation schedule was set up. Daniel would see his children on a regular basis. He paid special attention to Sierra because her personality was unusual. She was described as withdrawn, self-centered, and difficult. In 2012, Daniel remarried. The same year, Elizabeth resigned from the state senate and moved to Alaska with her boyfriend Tiger and her 3 children. Daniel was not happy because he was not able to see his children as often. He could maybe see them once or twice a year. In 2013, Daniel moved to Texas for work. He divorced his second wife in 2019. By 2020, Elizabeth, Tiger, who was now her husband, and her 3 children moved back to Las Vegas. In March of that same year, Daniel had business in Las Vegas and temporarily moved in with a friend of his named Peggy Newman. Sierra started sending vague messages to her father, complaining that she was afraid and not comfortable. She did not offer specifics, but Daniel was concerned for the welfare of his daughter. Daniel took Sierra on a trip to his home state of Oregon. When they returned to Nevada, Sierra refused to go back with her mother. Daniel tried to drop her off at a designated spot, which was a fast food restaurant, but she wouldn't get out of the car. He took her back to the home where he was staying and petitioned the court for custody. In order to increase his chances of being awarded custody of Sierra, Daniel rented a house that Peggy had purchased in his daughter's school district. His strategy did not pay off. The court ruled against Daniel and ordered him to return Sierra to her mother. As soon as he sent her back, Sierra ran away from Elizabeth and returned to Daniel. In June 2020, Sierra started dating a teenager named Aaron Guerrero. He was 2 years older than her. Daniel found out about Aaron several months later. He wasn't too happy about the relationship. He uncovered an alleged conspiracy between Sierra and Aaron. He believed they were planning on stealing from Aaron's parents and running off to Los Angeles. Daniel told Sierra she could no longer see Aaron. Sierra acted like she was okay with this news. She did not miss Aaron. She didn't care about him or think about him. In reality, Sierra was still talking to Aaron. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On Wednesday, April 7, 2021, 45-year-old Daniel Halseth returned to Las Vegas after going on a business trip to Boston, Massachusetts. His 16-year-old daughter Sierra and her 18-year-old lover Aaron had been left to their own devices for a short time while Daniel was gone. That night, the young couple viciously attacked Daniel as he was sleeping on a couch in the house that he rented. They stabbed him over 70 times. Daniel sustained injuries to his head, neck, and torso. He did not survive. After committing the murder, Sierra and Aaron went on shopping trips. Aaron was captured on video surveillance at a Home Depot, buying items like a circular saw, extra blades, lighter fluid, gloves, and a drop cloth. Sierra was captured on video at a Winco Foods, where she purchased bleach. The couple accessed a bank account that Daniel shared with Elizabeth and removed several $100s. Not long after the murder, Daniel's mother, Christine, tried to reach him, but was not successful. She sent text messages to Sierra to find out where Daniel was. Sierra said that her father's phone had been acting up, but it should be fixed by tomorrow. Later, Sierra gave Daniel's mother a story about him being in the shower. At 10:42 a.m., Christine texted, quote, "Do I need to call the police?" unquote. She also informed Sierra that Peggy and a friend of Peggy's were on the way to check on Daniel. Sierra and Aaron set fire to Daniel's body and fled in his 2016 Nissan Altima. They drove to Salt Lake City, Utah. Peggy and her friend arrived after the young killers had already left. They entered the house where Daniel lived, found his body in the garage, and called the police. It did not take long for investigators to figure out that Sierra and Aaron were probably responsible. An arrest warrant was issued. The young couple was arrested by the transit police in Salt Lake City, Utah on April 13th. They had boarded a tram but did not buy a ticket. The transit police asked them for their identification, and they gave it to them. Investigators found Daniel's Nissan Altima. There was a bloody rug inside the vehicle. Sierra's cell phone was seized and analyzed. On the phone, the police found several videos and images. One video featured Sierra and Aaron looking into the camera. Aaron said, quote, "Day 3 after murdering somebody," unquote. Sierra admonished him by saying, "Don't put that on camera." Aaron replied, "It was worth it." Sierra said that they had a lot of sex today. Aaron mentioned that sex was payment for doing it. Sierra and Aaron were extradited to Las Vegas. They were charged with murder with the use of a deadly weapon, first-degree arson, robbery with the use of a deadly weapon, conspiracy to commit robbery, and 4 counts of fraudulent use of a credit card or debit card. In May 2022, they pleaded guilty to all the charges. Later, they were both sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 22 years. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. Sierra was described as having several negative characteristics. For example, she was self-centered, manipulative, deceptive, disobedient, withdrawn, socially awkward, and antagonistic. She never apologized for the homicide. Sierra claimed that her father had committed horrible offenses against her and pressured her to drink alcohol. There is no evidence to support Sierra's claims. Even though Sierra was a killer, she tried to play the victim and said that she had trauma that she would have to work through every day. Item number 2, unlike Sierra, Aaron did express remorse for the homicide. He claimed that he had mental health issues and was not taking his medication. He also indicated that he was using LSD. He promised that if he was ever released, he would prove to Daniel's family that he is not a monster. Aaron appeared to recognize the role of impulsivity in his crime. He said, quote, "I think I acted more out of impulse than what you would call love," unquote. Item number 3, the custody dispute between Daniel and Elizabeth was contentious. Daniel was accused of being willfully underemployed, like he was not working as hard as he should have been in order to avoid paying child support. The court ordered him to pay almost $2,300 a month. Sierra's behavior was particularly confusing to the court. The judge said that he could not figure out who was to blame, but he knew something was wrong and he was worried about Sierra. At one point, Daniel presented a letter to the court, supposedly written by Sierra, which led the judge to admonish him. The judge was upset that Daniel had dragged Sierra into the custody dispute. Item number 4, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. When Daniel and Elizabeth were first married, they were idealistic and did not understand how the world functioned. When they moved to Las Vegas to launch Daniel's career, Elizabeth became ambitious herself. She became involved in politics and advocated for other politicians to be moral. Based on what Daniel said, it appears as though Elizabeth struggled in this area herself. She became aware of how she could attract other men, and she decided that she wanted someone better than Daniel. She found a new lover, at least according to Daniel. As all this was going on, another troubling situation was brewing. From a young age, Sierra exhibited a number of narcissistic and psychopathic characteristics. She may have been able to adapt and fit into society, but her family life was volatile. The dynamics of her family had changed quite a bit after moving to Las Vegas. Sierra learned from her parents' bad behavior. She viewed them as selfish, materialistic, and greedy. She admired these characteristics and tried to get what she wanted using manipulation. Sierra was not effective at manipulating Elizabeth, but she was effective at manipulating Daniel. She was able to understand exactly what Daniel wanted. Sierra knew that her father was upset about the divorce, bitter about the custody arrangement, angry about being romantically rejected, and resentful that an argument with Elizabeth led to him being convicted of 2 crimes. Sierra was able to connect with her father's anger at a cognitive level, but not at an emotional level. She had cognitive empathy, but no affective empathy. As it turns out, the cognitive empathy was all she needed to manipulate him. Sierra was able to deceive her father into believing that Elizabeth had been mistreating her. She wanted Daniel to fight with her mother and win custody so she could have more freedom. She did not love her father. She was only using him. Sierra connected with her father's revenge fantasy and was able to make him do whatever she wanted. In June 2020, Sierra started dating Aaron. The basis for this relationship was sex and antisocial fantasies. They believed that they were in love, but it was all just physical attraction. Both young lovers were narcissistic, had a lack of insight, and were excitement-seeking. During the trip that Daniel made to Boston, Sierra and Aaron were able to enjoy complete freedom. When Daniel came back to Las Vegas, they had to restrict their sexual activity, which made them unhappy. The couple could have simply run away, but one of them came up with the idea of murdering Daniel in order to make sure they could continue having sex without interruption. In my opinion, it was probably Aaron's idea. The young couple impulsively murdered Daniel and then desperately tried to get rid of his body. They tried to dismember him, but they did not have the technical skills or the energy to complete the job. When Daniel's mother threatened to call the police, the young lovers set Daniel's body on fire and fled. Now moving to my final thoughts. For many young people, feelings of love, or feelings they believe to be love, are intoxicating. Most people deal with these powerful feelings by exercising a level of self-control. Young people may break some rules to spend time together, but they rarely murder people in order to satisfy their desires. Unfortunately, some people are sadistic, impulsive, selfish, callous, and have a sense of entitlement. If two young people with these traits get together, the result can be lethal. They will eliminate any obstacle to being together. In this case, it would appear as though Daniel was put in the difficult position of catching a tiger by the tail. Those are my thoughts in the case of Daniel Halseth. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.